this is Isabel. So this whole section in September about interviewing is ending. This is the last video that I will make on the topic for interviews. So it's about what do you do after the interview process, what kind of follow up after an interview. So I talked already about the thank you note, so I won't get into this here. I talked also about having several processes in place and all this stuff. So what do you do in general after an interview? So the 3 tips that I want to give you today are more related to other activities than interviews. So if you've done the interview, you send the thank you note, you maybe you send one follow-up question afterwards, maybe you haven't heard in a couple of weeks and you followed up. I think that's all that you can do really, and more would be too much, and then it might also hurt the process. So what you could do after an interview is to look for other interviews. So at some point, if you've done everything that you need to do, you went to the interview, you showed your skills, you did the follow-up, there's nothing more that you can do on this particular process. All you can do is just put your energies towards growing your network, getting more interviews and all these things. So the first thing that you need to do is to let it sit for a while. So if you've communicated enough times, you did maybe one follow-up after 2 weeks, that's enough in my view. And you should orient your energy towards, let's see what other job postings are out there, let me network a little bit more. So basically open up your wings and just try to look for new opportunities. Definitely this is going to actually make you more attractive, because that means you're busy and you have several processes in place. Someone asked me, what's the best way to actually, build up your value and things like this. And being busy is definitely one of them. If you're wondering what you can do and you don't know how to fill your days when you're not working, that means you're not busy enough. So you should get to the point where you have so many activities during your job search where you are busy. And this is also something I'm covering in my course, where the link is below, how to get a job in Switzerland. Is I give you an example of the activities that you can do during the week. So I cover everything from building up your profile and the resume and how to get yourself active. So this is all downloadable information and text. So it's getting much more in depth than the 5-minute videos that you see here, because it's hard to explain in a snapshot of all the activities that you need to be working on to develop your skills and also get yourself more attractive for an employer. So number 1 is really that after an interview you should get busy. Get busy on other processes, get busy on building up your profile, and maybe my course is one activity that you can do that's actually upping your value on the market, because you understand a little bit more about the Swiss market, so you know how to position yourself. Number 2 is to try to forget a little bit interviews for a while and think more about what it is that you want, what the Swiss market has to offer, because sometimes expats are a little bit in a different situation, that the Swiss market offers A and they have B, so it's not really connected. So thinking about how to position yourself with the Swiss market a little bit more. Maybe you've had several interviews and none of them worked out. Maybe it's a question mark to say, am I really applying for the right things? Am I on the right market? So all these things will help you also get better interviews, because sometimes, again, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes employers will have you come in just to compare you with others. It's really unfortunate, because you're just basically almost used for comparison material, but it's the truth. Sometimes you come in and maybe you have a non-typical profile and the recruiter wants to compare what a non-typical profile would say compared to local maybe, and it's more curiosity than really wanting to hire you. So you just have to be aware of that. Again, I'm not saying it's the case for everybody. Probably it's not, but it happens. So you want to avoid those guest type of interviews that are just for curiosity. So you want to, again, position yourself for a job that you know you're qualified for and that you match. And sometimes when you're an expat, you're so happy to have an interview that you would go and get excited, even if, again, it's just a tourist type of visit. But you have to avoid those kinds of interviews, because they're not going to help you. And number 3 is, again, build up your skills. So after an interview, especially if if you saw that you always have a hiccup at a certain part of the interview process, you should definitely work on what you can do better to succeed. So if you're not getting called for interviews, that means your resume is not working. If you get to the last stage and you never get hired, then that means there's something going on either with your references or with how you sell yourself in the last stages. Maybe you're not convincing the senior professionals there, or you're not convincing overall because you're going through the motion, so to say, but you're not convincing. So you need to work more on your speech, on your communication, and what you say there that might be eliminating for you. So I hope this was helpful. Feel free to ask me some questions, and I will talk to you soon.